as we get going, we're going to do a fairly short program here to start with, and then I'll tell you where we are on the different tours and activities. At 5:30, you need to be back in here. David Kruger, who's also going to be up in the shop up above, will be signing the 125th history book of the Ag Experiment Station. And at 5:30, he's going to be down here and give us a presentation on what's in that book. And maybe you'll see your picture in there, or someone you know in what he's doing. But again, thank you all for coming out. And I guess the first thing I'm going to do is turn it over to Dean Galey. He's going to give us a little update on the college and what's going on at the university.
Thank you, John. And I assume you'll be introducing some of our new people a little bit later to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome on behalf of the University of Wyoming and College of Ag and Natural Resources. We really appreciate you coming out here. Having research and extension centers and hopefully serving you is a key part of the land-grant mission. And as long as I've been dean, as long as I'm going to be dean, these things are going to be very important. A couple of things. We do have our field days bulletin. I don't know if Bret's going to talk about this, but in that field days bulletin, hopefully you can see some of the projects that you've requested through our listening sessions or through your extension folks. Those projects have been put on the ground, and hopefully we have some results for you, some answers to your questions. At the university, a couple things. We've had a lot of changes. We have a new president, new vice president, and a whole lot less money. As you know, the state's going through some budgetary issues. The University of Wyoming is certainly no exception. And we're working our way through those issues. It's going to be tough. There are going to be some services that we've provided in the past and courses and whatnot that won't be available in the future. But we're doing our best to stay true to our mission of teaching research and service related to ag and the natural resources. So we'll continue that focus to the best of our ability. Students get here. They're already in Laramie, but they'll be going to class starting next week. And it's looking like, although we won't know the numbers for months, it's looking like the College of Ag and Natural Resources will have a very, very big record number of students on campus. So hopefully that's a sign that our programs are good and that our students are doing well. We're getting good feedback from employers, so hopefully that's doing well. I don't want to take much more of your time. The only thing I'd ask all of you to do is, as you look at these projects, if you have ideas or input for us on follow-up projects or projects you'd like to see done, talk to John, talk to anybody in a blue shirt. Raise your hands, blue shirts. All of our SAREC staff. There are a lot of University of Wyoming folks here too from other parts. We have, I think, our director of our Sheridan Center, Brian Mueller's back there. Grab Brian if you have ideas. We have several department heads. Mike Day from Animal Science, Mike. Jim Heidholt, Plant Sciences. Did Scott Miller get over here? I don't see Scott. And then we also have a number of extension people. Would you raise your hands? Glenn Whipple's the director, but we have a whole bunch of extension folks. So grab these folks and talk to them if you have input or suggestions. The last thing I'd say is that these programs are important to you, and having a strong College of Ag and Natural Resources at the University of Wyoming is important to you. You know, please spread that along to your local legislators and your trustees, because like I said, the university is going through a major prioritization or reprioritization, and it's going to be important that those folks in charge understand that ag is important in Wyoming. So I appreciate all of your support, and I hope in retrospect that we're doing a good job of supporting you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bret Hess, or to John. But I'm going to steal just a tiny bit of Bret's thunder. This is the 125th anniversary of the experiment station, as John mentioned. We've got lots of stuff going on. I think Bret may be sharing a little bit of it with you in a minute. But you know, come hit some football games, spend some time over on campus in Laramie, spend some time here. There's lots of history, but also hopefully a lot going forward to celebrate 125 years of research, applied research, and of course all research is applied, but research hopefully important to our producers at our center. So congratulations to Bret and John for a good job, and I'll turn it back over to John.
Thank you, Dean. You'd mentioned the research priorities. Some of you, I know we didn't get these down here very early, but at the registration desk, there's this sheet that says, oh, our priorities. So we have what's called the Production Agricultural Research Priorities document, and it's something that we use in the experiment station and in all these R&E centers to try to figure out what sort of research we can do that's going to be of interest to farmers and ranchers and people in the state. And so if you have a chance, pick this up. There's a bunch of headers on here. Those are the main topics. If you have an idea of what you think, kind of a question that you have about this that we can look at, please fill this out and leave it with Kelly at the desk or give it to any of us that are wearing these SAREC shirts today. We'd certainly appreciate it. With that, I am going to turn it over to Bret. Oh.
I can wait and just introduce.
Oh, okay. So a couple of housekeeping things. So you entered the drawing for the football tickets. We're going to draw for that at right as dinner starts, about 6 o'clock. Fortunately, the tickets are still back in Laramie, so we're going to mail them to you or get them to you somehow, whoever the winner is. It's for the first football game of the year on September 3rd. Okay. And so those were donated by, I know you told me.
By friends of AES.
Oh, by Friends of AES. And so they've donated their season tickets to each of the R&E centers for our field days to give away for that football game. What else can I tell you? Oh, I guess the most important thing is, you know, that this didn't happen because I'm standing up here. It's the staff back there that did all the work. And I think they already raised their hands with their blue shirts on, but we're all except one of us are wearing our blue shirts today. But please give them a hand, and if you see Kelly out there at the front desk, really give her a big thanks too. I know she doesn't want me to say that. Thanks. Couple of housekeeping things. There's water in these 2 white coolers by the entrance to this tent. The restrooms are up in the building up above. If you go in the front door and turn either direction and go through a set of doors, you'll find them. I don't know, just wander through them. You'll find them eventually. I'm trying to remember what else I forgot. Oh, what do you do now? So what we're going to do now, as most of you probably know, if you drove in from that direction, you saw a lot of hail damage. You drove in from that direction, you didn't see any hail damage till you got here. But the station itself was hit pretty hard by hail about a month ago, which is kind of why we've changed the format for this field day. Normally we put you on the people movers and drive you around and look at all the different plots and give you a chance to talk to researchers. Because there's not a whole lot to look at, we kind of changed our plan. Up in the shop, the big building just up on the top end here, we've asked researchers and graduate students to do posters, kind of explain what they're doing with their research, and then give you a chance to visit with them. One of the posters that's up there is we're trying to decide, so can we learn anything from this hailstorm? So really, as you might have seen, it wiped out our corn crop. What should we do with that? And so we brainstormed as a center. We talked to producers in the area about what some of the alternatives might be that we might be able to get something out of this year. That we might be able to learn and tell other producers if this ever happens to them, what some of the alternatives might be. There's a poster up in the shop that kind of explains the different treatments that we're going to try. And then if you get on the white people mover that's just right up here, they're going to take you out to one of the plots where we started implementing some of those treatments. Carrie Eberly, I don't know if she's still down here, is our new systems agronomist here at the center. And she's going to be out there and talk about the different treatments that we're looking at. We're still adjusting and learning and asking new questions, but it'll be an opportunity for you to look at that. We're also planning to do another kind of mini field day in October if people are interested in coming out and seeing how those plots are turning out at this point, or at that point, and have more of a discussion. So that's one option. You probably saw Pistol and Pete out here with the wagon. They're going to take people that want to go look at the Cheatgrass Challenge out to that area just over here, or you can walk out there. It's not very far. We have all the different plots marked, and I think some of the teams might be out there if you wanted to visit with them about what they're doing. And just to let you know, the team that grew the most cheatgrass this year is not going to be the winner. So that wasn't the idea of the challenge. And visit around. We have some of our equipment out here just sitting outside. Goshen County does a hay bale decorating contest, so this year they did a combine. They actually won the contest at the Goshen County Fair. Kelly and Lori Schaefer are the ones that put that together. The rest of us just stood back and cheered and encouraged them on. Then right beside it is our brand new plot combine that we just got. It just came like a week or two ago. We're hoping to be able to use it this year, but again with the hail, it's just going to be practiced on this year, and hopefully we'll be able. We might talk to some of our neighbors that want to let us harvest a little bit of their land to see if we can get it to work as well and learn how to use it. And then with that, so 5:30 back here, David Kruger will be talking, and Brett's going to talk a little bit more about that. About 6 o'clock, or whenever the questions for David stop, we'll have dinner right here and then come back in here. So you also may have gotten a beer ticket. Those will be distributed about the time dinner starts. So you can only have water now, beer later. That I introduce Bret Hess, the Director of the Wyoming Ag Experiment Station.
Well, thanks, John, and thanks, Dean Galey. Thank you for everybody attending today. It's good to see a lot of acquaintances that I've known for quite a while and a lot of new faces. The Dean had mentioned the 125 celebration. I'll just mention real quick, I'll give a very short history lesson so that then you can get on to business. The experiment station is actually as old as the land grant system. If you go back and read the original 1862 act that was passed by Congress, the Morrill Act, in that particular act it says that 10% of the land or scripts that are provided to any state that wants to form a state university with federal dollars or land, 10% of that could be used to establish experiment farms. And then in 1887, the Hatch Act was passed that formally established the experiment stations for every land grant that was interested in establishing experiment stations. The government would provide money to support the research that the experiment stations conducted. In 1891, the state legislature passed legislation to form the Wyoming Agricultural Experiment Station. So we've been in existence for the 125 years. So this year we are celebrating that 125 years, and as John had mentioned, I will be introducing the author of the book that discusses the 125 years worth of history. And I'm proud to say that it's a very interesting book. It does a great job of bringing in some personal stories. And the part that I'm proud of is there's been fewer ag experiment station directors than there has been university presidents. I don't know what that means, especially in light of recent times, but what it tells me is most of my predecessors, as well as the dean had alluded to, we take our job very seriously. We do enjoy it, and our belief is to tie the research that we do to what is needed by the state. And John had mentioned one priority that we have, and that's production ag research priorities. He asked for input, and we've actually been tying a lot of the work that we've been doing back to those priorities. And so just in the Field Days Bulletin as an example, and if you go to a website that we have, there's going to be a poster about that, and is it up on the screen now? And so there will be a presentation that outlines what we're doing on our website to link back to those priorities. And I'll just tell you that on average, in the last few years, we've been publishing 88 different articles in our Field Days Bulletin on average, and they link to 259 of those research priorities. So on average, every research project that we conduct addresses about 3 of those priorities that have evolved from producer input. So we're very proud of that, and if you go back through the history, you'll see that same type of theme throughout the book, and in the reflections that are also over there, you'll see a statement that summarizes that exact theme again. So was there anything? Oh, so the poster is also presented up on the screen right now, and that's going to be over in the shop. So please visit that so you can get a little more information. I don't think we're going to have an ability to demonstrate everything, but it'll give you a good summary of what we've done to begin to show how we're addressing those needs. And then one last thing that I'll say is, by doing this, we're also going to be able to identify gaps of areas where you all have said, this is an important question that we need answers to, and by doing this link, we'll be able to identify whether or not we have addressed that and be able to look forward and say, okay, here's a key hole where we need to start conducting a little more research and putting some of the limited dollars that we have available towards to answer those questions. So with that, I think, John, it's my duty to say you're free to go get on the peeper hauler, jump on the wagon with Pistol and Pete, or walk across the yard over to the shop and visit the posters. And we'll be back here at 5:30. Thank you.